Today's video begins on a cloudy, foggy, and kind of misty morning outside the city of York, Pennsylvania. I'm standing next to a mailbox that says Haines Shoe House, and here it is, quite literally a house in the shape of a shoe. This unusual house was built in 1948 by a shoe salesman named Malin Haines. This house was built as an advertising gimmick to promote his shoe store business. He also rented the house out to newlyweds and senior couples. It later became a museum and an ice cream shop. But now the property is once again available for rental on Airbnb in Verbo. The house also has a seating area with a fire pit, and next to it is a miniature version of the shoe house. There's a pretty nice seating area. Looks like a great place to wind down after a long day of seeing some of the tourist and gambling places in the nearby area. To the left of the dark gray building, which I think is a garage, is the hot tub, and there's some fencing to give people a little privacy. The shoe house has 3 bedrooms and 2.5 baths. The windows all have stained glass designs of a shoe. There are 2 living rooms, one on the lower level and one on the upper level. The Airbnb listing notes that Hulu was included with the reservation, as well as earplugs to drown out the highway noise. Here's a marker that talks about the Haines Shoe House. The house is 48 feet long and 25 feet high. And it says this is an example of pragmatic architecture, where buildings are shaped like objects or animals for advertising purposes. View the NBC The More You Know screen. The shoe house is considered an icon on the Lincoln Highway, which is the thoroughfare next to us. The white fencing along the property line also has shoes on it, so it's pretty neat looking. The shoe house was featured on HGTV a few years ago on a show about distinctive and unusual homes. It was also featured on the 8th season of The Amazing Race. The Haines Shoe House is a few miles east of York. It's not quite off the highway, but it's still easy to get to. Alright, let's head on to my next stop, which I last visited about 15 years ago. It's definitely a fun place, or maybe I should say it's a sweet place. Now in the city of Hershey, and I've arrived at Hershey's Chocolate World. I am, quote, rope-dropping this attraction, so to speak, since this place will get very busy later in the morning. I was very young the last time I visited this place. I think I stopped here on the way to New York City to see my great aunts, and Hershey is on the way from where I live in Georgia. This is a fun stop. They have many kinds of Hershey's candies. They have a coffee shop, a huge store, and a cute dark ride. It should be a lot of fun. Looking forward to it. Hey guys, it's Emily. Welcome everyone. Today I'm starting my day in misty central Pennsylvania. I'm now at Hershey's Chocolate World to try out the dark ride and also get some tasty treats. Then I'll head west from here. The forecast calls for sun and mid-70s. Quite a difference. Gonna be another Keystone kind of day. Let's go. Even at 9:30 in the morning, it's busy inside Hershey Chocolate World. I wonder if there's more people here because it's raining and the Hershey Park rides are closed. They have some Halloween merch for sale, like this Reese's Peanut Butter Cup Vampire. Also some Halloween themed candies like Reese's Franken Cups, the Special Kisses, and a big bag of other candies. This is a very dangerous place with all the delicious candy here. Here's a glow-in-the-dark t-shirt that says Happy Halloween. Oh my goodness, Reese's dipped animal crackers. Next to those cookies are many different Hershey candy-themed socks. Starting in the afternoon, they'll serve this special Kit Kat Witch's Brew milkshake that's got a lot of stuff in it. Oh, and there's a every Kit Kat imaginable next to it. Get yourself some giant boxes of sweets. 2 boxes for $40. And over here are some cool stickers for your car or laptop. Now it's time to check out the Hershey's Chocolate Tour. This is a dark ride where you ride through how they make Hershey's candies. Look at these cute ride cars. They kind of look like big Hershey's Kisses to seat 4 people. I don't remember the last time I rode this, but my parents do remember the old song the animatronic cows used to sing. It's the milk chocolate tasty treat. The new song was updated, I think, in the early 2010s.
Chocolate Factory Tour. For your safety, please remain seated with your hands and feet inside the vehicle at all times.
The animatronics at the start of the ride look to be about the same. Here's Dairy the Cow. Back in 1900, Milton Hershey built a factory in the town of Dairy Church. The cows names were Mocha, Caramel, Strawbella, Blossom, Cocoa, and Hazel. Now let's go into the simulated chocolate factory to see how all that delicious candy is made.
Screen and thoroughly remove unwanted parts like pulp and bits of cacao pod and consistent Hershey's flavor.
Through intense pressure and friction, the grinding turns cocoa nibs into the smooth, dark liquid used to make milk and dark chocolate.
Pressing also produces cocoa butter, which we'll use later on in the process. Fresh milk to make milk chocolate. Fresh milk is part of what gives Hershey's milk chocolate its delicious, distinctive taste. Condense the sweetened milk and then blend in the perfect amount of unsweetened chocolate. This is where the art of chocolate making all comes together. It cuts down earlier and has a dash of vanilla. This brings out the chocolate's rich taste. We see the chocolate come through steel rollers that grind and refine the chocolate until it reaches a smooth to explain the next step in the process.
These cotton machines use rolled rollers heats the chocolate, developing the rich flavor and color. Heavy rollers smooth out the refined crumb until it reaches the silky liquid texture of milk chocolate.
Special dark box.
Hey, don't forget about Reese's peanut butter cups. My personal favorite.
It looks like our packages are ready to go, and I better get going too. It's been a privilege being your guide today. Remember that wherever you go, you're never far from a piece of Hershey's happiness.
At the end of the ride, you get a free fun-size Hershey bar. They have a lot of souvenirs here themed for Hershey's candy, like these Reese's shirts. I've never seen this, Reese's popcorn. I bet that's really good. Some plant-based options are sold here, using oat chocolate instead of milk chocolate. I'm buying some bulk candy for my friend. There are lots of different kinds of candy here. You can fill either a pail or a plastic container with as much bulk candy as possible, or you can fill a smaller plastic bag. I wonder if this is any good. Peach flavored Twizzlers. There's an entire section devoted to Reese's stuff. Every kind of sweet treat you can imagine. Not only that, but every amount or size of candy, from huge boxes to individual servings. I put on my Insta a picture of me from 15 years ago holding this 5-pound candy bar. This must be the premium Hershey's chocolate bars called Golden Almond. Here are many different flavors of Hershey's coffee. They have a coffee store here. I may try it. Here's another section with boxes of candy such as Almond Joy, Mounds, Rolo, Peppermint Patties, and Hershey's Chocolate Nuggets. Whatchamacallit, Payday and Fifth Avenue bars are over here. You can get these and other king-size candies. You can get one for $2.50 or 3 of them for $7. They have a bakery here with some cookies, also cookie sandwiches. And over here are some huge muffins. If you like sweets, this is the place for you. Hershey Chocolate World is celebrating its 50th anniversary this year, and they have merch for sale. Now we're at the coffee bar, and I wanted to try a peanut butter flavored coffee. Hopefully it's really good.
Tastes like normal coffee.
Well, that was a bust. So let's check out more merch. They seem to have more Reese's stuff than anything else, from candles to coffee mugs and a lot of shirts. Even up to size quadruple XL. They also have clothing for young children and infants. Also there are sippy cups and plush dolls. Same thing for adults, lots of clothing and coffee mugs and ice cream bowls. These must be coffee mugs for Dairy the Cow, which I just saw on the dark ride. Only $14.95 and my mama almost bought one. I found it on the shelf with Halloween themed candy, including this clear plastic cases for fun-sized candy. They also have games and puzzles for sale, including the classic Candyland game. I'm just about to leave, so I'm gonna get that bag of candy from my friend. I'm gonna shove as much candy as possible into the small bag. I gotta get my money's worth of candy. That was a really fun visit. The dark ride was a fun 5 to 10 minute trip through their chocolate factory. And there is every Hershey themed candy, gift, and clothing item you can think of here. It got busy in the couple hours I was here. Oh, and there's a photo op. I almost forgot about this and saw it on my way out. Gotta get that fun pic. I'm gonna take this walls of advice and have a sweet day. I have a long way until I reach Kecksburg tonight, so let's head on out. I reluctantly decided to pay the exorbitant tolls on the Pennsylvania Turnpike. If you have the transponder, it costs a lot less than the toll by plate cost that I have to pay since I'm in a rental car. I think it's about 25 cents a mile, so I'm gonna end up paying about $50 in tolls. But I will say that it's much quicker. The speed limits are generally 70 miles per hour, except through these tunnels, when the speed drops to 55. I was headed east a couple of days ago. It took a long time because some of the roads are curvy, but on Interstate 76, the roads are relatively straight and had few tunnels. About 2 hours west of Hershey is the small town of Bedford. The population is just 2,800 people and is the home of the Bisons. I'm on US 30, which is Lincoln Highway. I'm here to see a classic roadside attraction. I've seen many people post pictures of themselves at this attraction, so now it's my turn to get some fun pics. First, let's see this marker about Bedford. The town was originally called Raystown when it was first settled in 1750. They set up a trading post and a fort. In 1794, Washington reviewed the forces in the Whiskey Rebellion. And here's that classic roadside attraction I've seen on many Instagram posts over the years. And here's the world's largest pot of coffee. This is about the right amount of coffee I need in the morning. For posterity, here I am next to the giant coffee pot. It appears to be a two-story cylindrical building, but the door is locked, so you can't go inside and take a look. But somebody is using the structure. Once again, I see the phrase programmatic architecture. In this case, the coffee pot was used to bring in business from travelers on the Lincoln Highway. It was a small restaurant at the time and was attached to a gas station. It later became a hotel, and the coffee pot functioned as the hotel's bar. But the hotel eventually closed, and the coffee pot was neglected for decades. In 2003, the Bedford County Fair Association purchased the building for $1, and they moved the coffee pot across the street to its present location, and spent $80,000 to restore it, to the delight of roadside attraction enthusiasts across the country. The inside appears to be used by the county to sell coffee pot themed merchandise, like this bug, that has the likeness of the coffee pot on it. Otherwise, it's not really in use. It would be clever to turn this into an actual coffee shop, don't you think? Here's a better look from the door. It's basically an empty room, but there's a display case on the back wall, or the right. There is also a picture of the coffee pot as it was about 100 years ago. So here I am with some packets of coffee, but you can't tell from here, so fail. There's a donation box next to the coffee pot, in case you would like to contribute to the upkeep of this plastic edifice. It does look like it needs another paint job to get the coffee pot back to that shiny silvery color it had after it was restored. Down the road is another classic building, so let's check that out right now. Just a few miles away is downtown Bedford. I can't believe this city is 275 years old. I'm used to being in much younger cities. But anyway, this is downtown and I'm next to this classic gas station. This is Dick Dunkel's Art Deco gas station. It opened in 1933 and is the only surviving terracotta gas station in the United States. And I believe this gas station still was in business until earlier this year. This marker notes that in the early days of the Lincoln Highway, it was difficult to find gas and snacks, not like today where we have larger gas stations like Wawa and Sheetz. The gas stations were much smaller, and they placed just a couple of pumps very close to the street. This gas station recently closed as the son of the original owner, Jack Dunkel, passed away. The town was hoping someone will buy the gas station. Take a look at the office. It kind of looks like it's been frozen in time, doesn't it? It has been dormant for a few months now. Maybe a preservationist will buy this property like they did for the big coffee pot down the street. So if you're here for the big coffee pot and you like this style of architecture, or maybe you're into an early road trip, head down here for a few minutes. Now to our modern gas station, getting gas and a coffee before getting on the turnpike. I noticed this turnpike sign is huge. Look at it. The damn green pennant turnpike sign is so big you can't miss it. Anyway, back on the road. I have to say, this area doesn't look all that different from home. The mountains are a little smaller, but it really feels like I'm driving on the 4 lanes in Georgia or Tennessee or North Carolina. It's really nice through here. Anyway, let's quickly get through another of these long tunnels. This one is going through Allegheny Mountain and head to my next destination. I'm in the small town of Kecksburg, which is about 30 miles or so from Pittsburgh, give or take. I'm not sure what the population is, but the town appears to be small. And there's this acorn-shaped monument kind of thing on this little hill. This acorn monument is a representation of what some believe was a spaceship that crash landed in this small town on December 9, 1965. It was reported by numerous people that the spaceship had the shape of a very large acorn. There is some sort of writing on each side of the acorn monument. On December 9, 1965, people in 6 states and Ontario saw a fireball streaking across the sky. Pittsburgh heard sonic booms before the citizens of Kecksburg felt vibrations, saw blue smoke, and heard a quote, thump. The U.S. Army and state police cordoned off the area surrounding the crash site, but then the state troopers and the U.S. Air Force stated that they couldn't find anything. The Department of Defense's official statement was that the object was most likely a meteor, and thus a natural phenomenon, not a UFO. But people to this day believe this was a UFO landing, similar to what happened in Roswell, New Mexico. Well, that's disappointing. I was hoping to find out where my ancestors came from. 40 years later, in 2005, NASA came out with a different story for what happened. They say that metal fragments were retrieved from the site, so they now admit that they found something in 1965. NASA said the fragments are likely from the Cosmos 96 resonance satellite that lost orbit and disintegrated in the atmosphere. But others speculate the object was part of an Air Force spy satellite that fell out of orbit, but that has not been confirmed by NASA or the Air Force. So the mystery continues, and the changing stories over the last 60 years doesn't really help much. Numerous documentaries and UFO-themed TV shows have covered the Kecksburg incident. In those documentaries, residents that lived here in 1965 have stated the ship was the size of a Volkswagen Bug, and others believe the Nazis were involved. At any rate, the town of Kecksburg has capitalized on the story. Many people, including myself, saw this on Roadside America and Atlas Obscura. Now this is kind of a tourist attraction. The town even holds an annual UFO festival in July. They also have a UFO store, which I didn't visit. Many people refer to Kecksburg as Pennsylvania's Roswell. What do you think? Leave me a comment. Now heading to a famous place, somewhere most everyone in the United States has heard of, or at least they hear of this place once a year. More specifically, this town is used for an important weather report that comes from the town every February 2nd, Groundhog Day. I'm talking about Punxsutawney. Population of about 5,800 people, and is the home of the groundhog called Punxsutawney Phil, the country's most famous weather predictor. Punxsutawney Phil is the town's most revered resident. The gleeful groundhog is decorated in many ways. Like at this florist, the groundhog statue is decorated with numerous flowers as he greets tourists and residents alike. There are so many groundhog statues throughout the city, so I'll just run through a few of them that are along the downtown's main thoroughfare. Look at this one, maybe decorated like a Royal Canadian Mounted Policeman. He's even wearing a groundhog cap. He has drawings of other groundhogs on him. Oh, and Punxsutawney calls itself the weather capital of the world. He even has a brochure in his back pocket. The groundhog is next to the Punxsutawney Area Chamber of Commerce, which doubles as Phil's official souvenir shop. However, the shop is closed. This groundhog is a wood carving, and whoever carved this did a really nice job. Like many small towns, there is an analog clock showing the city's name and the date when the clock was installed, 1915. Look at this baseball groundhog holding a bat in one hand and a glove and a ball in the other. From Berkshire Hathaway Home Services, the preferred realty. The office, I think, is in that building behind him. At the Fraternal Order of Eagles building, that's what FOE stands for. Look at this fiberglass tree stump. It appears to be about 10 feet tall. That's kind of cool looking. Across the street is a groundhog stylized to the Statue of Liberty, complete with a light blue color, like Lady Liberty in New York. He is also wearing a toga styled as the American flag. Here's a life-size sculpture of a groundhog. The marker below reads Punxsutawney Phil, presented by his admirers on July 9, 1972. The actual Punxsy Phil lives in the building behind the sculpture. I'm at the Punxsutawney Public Library. Punxsy Phil has a special room where he and a companion live, undisturbed except for one day of the year, when he gets yanked from his cozy lair and taken to Gobbler's Knob for the famous ceremony. I'll head there in a few minutes. You see Phil's burrow, which is that special climate-controlled room, and here's another groundhog statue. It kind of looks like something an old-timey mayor would wear. This is the very first groundhog statue, called Village. He was debuted on Groundhog Day 2004. Oh, the groundhog statues are known as Fantastic Phils, with a fantastic starting with the letters B and H. All the statues are really adorable, and I read there are 32 of them around town. I'm going to see if I can get a look at the actual Punxsutawney Phil through the glass. A lot of times, he and his friend are sleeping underneath the bed of hay, but hopefully I'll get lucky. Here's some fun Phil facts. Punxsy Phil is over 100 years old. Wink wink. Most groundhogs only live 6 to 8 years. He likes to eat dandelions. A baby groundhog is called a kit. He weighs 18 pounds and is 22 inches long. Every February 2nd, Punxsy Phil forecasts the weather for the next 6 weeks. If he sees a shadow, it means 6 more weeks of winter. Otherwise, it's an early spring on the way. Alright, let's see if Punxsutawney Phil is awake and ready to say hello. There he is. His little room is decorated super cute too. I can't tell if he's sleeping or meditating, but I think if he sleeps, he's hiding in that bale of hay. Let me see if I can get a better angle without all the shadowing. There you go. That's a nice clear shot of Punxsy Phil. And he's eating something. There must be some food right below him. I had some great news for you. On March 31st, 2024, Punxsy Phil's wife Phyllis gave birth to 2 little baby groundhogs. This is the first instance of the Punxsutawney Phil groundhog procreating. Oddly enough, no one knew Phyllis was pregnant. Even though 138 years have passed since the first weather prediction event, and Phil has never impregnated a girl groundhog. In front of the police station is another groundhog dressed as a policeman, and he's got a canine patrol dog with him. The marker next to him says that the name Punxsutawney is of Indian origin. Look at this, behind the fire station, there's another groundhog, this time dressed up as a fireman. He's even holding an axe. But he's also holding a baby groundhog. Is this meant to show the fireman saving a baby from the fire? I think the name on the baby's blanket is Gamers. I'm not sure if that's the baby groundhog's first name or last name. He's also sucking on a pacifier. That's really cute. In fact, all the groundhogs here are really cute. There's another one closer of a groundhog. This one is dressed up like the guy that announces if Punxsy Phil saw his shadow, kind of like the town crier. He looks like he has a newspaper and an umbrella. Whoever carved this is very talented, and it is kept up very well. It doesn't look worn down from all the rain and other elements. One last groundhog statue before I head to Gobbler's Knob, and I'm at the post office, which is just a block or two away from downtown. Here's another groundhog, stylized as a postal worker, and he's got mail. He's dressed up in a familiar blue uniform, and he's carrying a bag full of mail. He's got a cute hat on, and he's holding a single letter. And the letter is addressed to Punxsutawney Phil at Gobbler's Knob. Look at the stamp. It cost just 22 cents, so that had to go back a while. Alright, let's head on over to Gobbler's Knob, which is about 10 minutes away. That's where the big Groundhog Day ceremony takes place. And here I am at Gobbler's Knob. This is where Punxsutawney Phil makes his famous weather prediction to see if spring comes early or not. This is the place you see on TV, with more than 10,000 people cheering on the groundhog, who's probably scared to death since he's used to his warm and quiet burrow in the library. The first weather forecast from a groundhog took place right here on February 2nd, 1877. But it's actually a long-standing German custom to use rodents to predict the weather. The day February 2nd was chosen because it's the midpoint between the winter solstice and the spring equinox. This marker mentions where Punxsy Phil lives at Phil's Burrow, the library. I'm glad I got to see him in person. This lawn I'm walking on does not fit 10,000 people. In fact, I'm not sure it fits more than a couple thousand. But here's the stage where all the weather magic takes place. The sun is right in front of me, so I'll move to the side a little. The stage isn't very big. In the center of the stage is the stump where Punxsy Phil is placed into. And then, right at sunrise, the groundhog is pulled out of the stump from those little doors, and somehow it's determined whether he sees his shadow. I don't know how they know he saw his shadow or not. Historically, Punxsy Phil predicts 6 more weeks of winter much more often. The government agency National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration concluded that Punxsy Phil is right about 40% of the time. In 2024, Punxsy Phil did not see his shadow and predicted an early spring. I'm not sure he was right, but February into mid-March was warm, but mid-March into mid-April has been cooler than normal. In Georgia, there's a groundhog named General Beauregard Lee that attempts to predict when spring will start. However, other states use different animals. In Alabama, for example, they use a possum named Sam Mountain Sam. And for posterity, here I am in front of the stage. I'm not going to predict the weather. This is a really beautiful area. I definitely recommend paying Travelers Knob a visit. Well, maybe not on February 2nd. But people do have this as a bucket list item to see Punxsutawney Phil in person as he makes his weather forecast. Alright, I'm 85 miles from Pittsburgh, so it's time to move on. Now I'm 35 miles northeast of Pittsburgh, and I'm in the city of Katanning at the Cadet Restaurant, which is closed right now, but that's okay. Because I'm here to see this muffler man standing here in the parking lot. This one is a little tough to get a good video with the sun, and I'm also on the road. This muffler man's name is Sam, and he's holding a very large hamburger. This may be one of the oldest original muffler men in existence. He's been here since 1962. It looks like the hamburger is wired into his right hand. He also appears to be wearing a traditional gas station attendant uniform, but they added a white cowboy hat to match. There is a small caveat to Sam being here since the 60s. In 1990, a Ford Bronco crashed into the muffler man, and he wasn't reinstalled until 2002. I'm trying to get Sam fully in the frame, so I'm actually in the road where one of the lanes is barricaded, but cars are honking at me anyway, either because I'm in the road, or because I'm taking video, and sometimes people like to honk at people taking video. I still have a little while until I reach Pittsburgh, so I'm gonna grab some dinner around here, and then I'll head over to my favorite viewing place in that city. It's now nighttime, and I'm at an overlook off Grandview Avenue, and this is the beautiful skyline of Pittsburgh. It's commonly known as the Steel City, and the city is the second most populated in Pennsylvania, with about 300,000 people. The last time I was here was in September 2019. My parents and I were here for the annual 10K called the Great Race. My dad ran the race, but my mama was the one that played hurt. She had what we thought was a single kidney stone, but she took the trip anyway. As luck would have it, while my dad ran that race, my mama passed the kidney stone. Yes, we took a picture, but now I won't show it here. Pittsburgh is home to many Major League sports teams, including the hockey team Penguins, the baseball Pirates, and the football Steelers, and I'm zoomed in toward Acrisure Stadium, where they play. All those teams use the colors black and gold. Most of the bridges crossing the three rivers are painted gold. This is a beautiful city, and I'll explore this city and some of its suburbs in my next episode, so check that out next time. Thanks for watching, bye!